Okay, my name's Mark Files, and the sun's peeking over the house here. It's early morning in the Pacific Northwest, and I'm making this video, short one here, which I'm going to show how to sharpen knives. I'm going to show how to sharpen gardening tools, and then later scissors, and then I'm going to move over to a different workbench, and I'm going to video how to do bigger things like machetes and axes and things like that with a different set of tools. But here's the thing. I'm dedicating this movie to Ava and her dad Franklin, and many of my friends like Timothy the cameraman, and Jackson and William. All these people really are craftsmen at heart, and they like to work with their hands, and they like to meet with people. And see, that's what this does as a hobby or as a way to make money at farmers market. It's just a joy, because in 2 minutes you can take a knife that is totally dull and turn it into totally sharp, factory sharp. And if you take a little more time, you can take a fillet knife and turn it into razor sharp. And during this video, the first part is about knives, kitchen knives, pocket knives, and we have some other special knives. Here's I guess a kind of like a marine barlow. We're going to go through the different characteristics of each steel. And then we have a beautiful antique knife that we will show how to sharpen. Now, the basic fundamentals of this process is that we, all your kitchen knives, it's factory accepted across the country that you do it at a 20-degree angle. When you do fillet knives and some Japanese cutlery, it's at 15 degrees. And if you're doing a machete or a tool, some people open oysters or something, we do it at a 22-degree angle. Now, this is the main tool that puts you in business, that transforms your ability to sharpen, and it's a 1/2 inch by 18 inch belt sander, and they cost less than $40 on Amazon. You can buy a little one that's a little bit better for $55, but I use these. Now, I'm going to later show you how to use this. This is a vise for a drill press. So it gives you different angles between 0 and 90. And then I'm going to show you how I got started in the business, and then I sort of developed this system. I started out with the ones that they have on the sun just hit me in the eyes, but we're going to go ahead and finish this video, and I can see down, I just can't see the camera or what's out there. Here's what it is. You'd have very few tools. Now, you see this visor, you will need one of these. This one is over 50 years old. When I was in jewelry school, I used it. It's been repaired. It broke from fatigue right here, from going up and down. And then you will need, these are diamond honing, I don't know what you call them. They're diamond honing stones. And we'll show the difference between a soft steel pocket knife and a hard steel kind of traditional whittling knife. Okay, so the first thing I would like to say to you on this is about the dedication. I'd like to dedicate this to Ava and her dad Franklin, and all my friends, Timothy the cameraman, and you know, Jackson and Will. You know, all these people are people who like to work with their hands, and they like to be with people. And you see, this skill that you're learning right here allows you to be real. You can go to somebody's house and you just sharpen all their knives, and they think you're great, and it takes you no time. Or you can go to farmers market and have a wonderful time. It's kind of like going to church. You meet the same people and you have fun. And I've many times made over $300 in a 4-hour stretch. Now, what I was going to show you is we will begin with your basic knife, and we'll talk about the angles that you sharpen. Your basic knife is put at a 20-degree angle, and this is almost universal. All knives come, with some exceptions. Then your fillet knife will be at 15 degrees and machetes and some kinds of where they use them to open oysters and stuff will be at a 22-degree angle. Now this belt sander here, what it does, it cuts on the pull stroke like this. It's going around this way and it cuts on a pull, and then you have to reverse the knife and cut the other side like this. And later I'm going to show you how to chuck them into this knife, but I just want to say this much. I had a block of wood cut at a 20-degree angle, and for the first year that I did it, I was able to just use the block of wood, and basically after I learned a little bit, I freehanded them. And you can do it freehand. This tool makes you an expert and a scientist. This is the clamp that clamps them in, but this tool makes you it does the work. And I can easily freehand that and get a good job. Now, once you do both sides, it's a little awkward when you do the back side, but two strokes this way and two strokes this way, and you pick up something about like a 600 grit. I normally don't work with gloves, but it's cold out. It's below 40. Now you see, some people make just a sound. You have to put some pressure on it. You see, now this, I will explain why we're doing this now. Because when the belt sander does the 20 degrees, which it does exactly right, it has little teeny weeny burrs right here. And those burrs, of course, are unacceptable. So it's called honing. This is the sharpening angle, and this is the honing. I go to 600 grit per square inch, and then I follow it up with something like 1,000 or 1,200. And a lot of times on the honing, I just move real fast, but I put pressure. And you see this knife that right now is razor sharp. The way I generally tell if they're sharp is by feel. Oh my God, it's just as sharp as you can imagine. Okay, now we learned the basics there. Now let's go to how, because these tools are, let me show you one other thing. When I go to market, I put all my tools in one bucket. At the end of the day, I set this guy in the bottom. I put those two tools in here, and then my honing tools, and I basically, in one 5-gallon bucket, can have all my tools. I actually have another side bucket where I put extra belts. Right now I'm going to show you how to change the belt on one of these things. You push down and it clicks because it's spring loaded. I'm going to take off my gloves now. It's probably the sun's coming, it's warmer. Okay, you take these guys off. You make sure that the arrow is going in the right direction, and then you put them back in. This is real simple. And put it over the top, and then you push this little black button, ouch, and the spring loads, and you have to make sure it's in the right channel. I think it is. Let's take a look. Now let's talk about this tool, because there's 3 variables when you're using a belt sander. The first variable is the grit. Now for metal work, we often use much bigger numbers than in woodworking. Whatever you know about belt sanding wood is entirely different from what it is with metal. Now the main enemy is if you burn your sandpaper, goes real fast. You have to change these things after 10, 20 knives for sure. And if it's dull and you push too hard, it creates heat. We're going to talk about heat about 3 times. Getting back to this tool, 3 variables: the grit, the speed, and the amount of pressure or torque. Now this tool right here takes many amps. It's a tiny amount of electricity, and it has very little pressure. But that's what makes it good, because we're doing delicate work. Later, when we start doing some bigger things, we will use bigger tools. And but at farmers market, this is quiet enough that you don't have to be outside. You can be inside around people. Now, the one thing that's real important that I'm going to mention right now is that safety. There's very few safety issues with sharpening knives. You don't cut yourself, but there is one. I don't have the mask in front of me, but I always wear a mask or have a fan, because this doesn't make a lot of pollution, but you tend to get your nose right next to it, and that is problematic. It does give off dust, and dust is the worst thing for your lungs. So when you're there, you have to have a fan on you, or a pulling away, which is what I generally do, or just a mask. It's all right, as long as you wear a mask. Now, so now we know how to do it freehand. Let's look at this tool, and we'll show you the way that I do it on a regular basis. You see, there is a scale right over here with 1 degree, and I can turn this. I'm not going to do it right now, but you can unloosen it, and you can change it to any particular angle. So I put it at 70 degrees off the horizon, and then that means that when I chuck the knife in, the knife is at 20 degrees. And then I hold this horizontal, and I'll show you one little thing. We do put this kind of on the edge, because you have to change your angle. As you do this, you change your angle. You see how I do it right there? And it's that simple. I'm going to do one pass here. A lot of times, now, you see, I run at very low speed with nice sharp sandpaper, new sharp sandpaper at low speed, because if you go high, it'll put a little burn in the thing. And you see, rust is the same as fire. It gets one little spark, and then it starts taking the oxygen, and some of the good knives are very susceptible to rust. Now, some of the cheap knives don't rust at all. Okay, let's go through some different knives and finish this up. This is your bread and butter. I mean, you do a lot of knives like this. The second thing, if you have a business standpoint, you get almost as much work in gardening tools as you do, and they're immensely easy, but I'm not showing that now. We'll show it in the next video. So here's some things about knives. First of all, we're contrasting these two knives. This is a good whittling knife that has some different kind of blades in it. It has blades for cutting. And this is a regular, like a Swiss Army knife. And I have another, actually made by the company, in my pocket. You see, this just ordinary Swiss Army knife, and this is too. Now the steel is really soft on them. So, in many ways, you can take this soft steel and burnish it strong with a little piece of carbide on the end of, they make these tools. Easy to keep sharp, but you can't cut very much before it gets dull. So you sharpen it all the time, because that's the soft steel. Has its advantages. Now, a whittling knife is generally honed down with at least 1200 grit, and it's made super sharp and generally at 15 degrees. Although a blade like this, a pocket knife like this, technically I would do the big blade here at 20, and I would do the whittling blade right here at 15. But you pocket knives like this are a fair amount of work, and they're a joy to work on, and they stay sharp. Now, paring knives, just ordinary paring knife with ordinary steel. Use a 20-degree angle and hone it sharp. Now here is a You know, it's cold out here. It's 38 when I started to work, and I need to kind of make sure that I'm not dripping. Okay, now here is a different kind of steel. This is a Damascus steel, a marvelous piece of antique, I guess, or homemade, and I would still sharpen it at 20 degrees. Now, we have a fillet knife, and I love doing these because you get some really beautiful knives, and of all the knives that get used a lot, the fillet knife, it gets used. And many times after I have sharpened the fillet knife, if I know the person is a professional, I give them or sell them a 1200 so they can hone it themselves. And let's look. Okay, now another knife that you come and get, a lot of people will ask you, can you do serrated knives? They're the easiest of all. You take your 600 honing stone, and on the back side, you do like that, and one time on the front, and they're razor sharp. They're real easy. Now, can you recreate the serrations? That is a different job with a Dremel. You can do it, but you have to be a real expert, and it's not in our league right now. And here's one of the things that I believe there's a lot more work for us with is camping tools and beastie knives like this. This is a really beautiful. It kind of looks like a mini K-bar, and but the steel in this is hard. The steel in this is strong, and but you can sharpen it in 2 minutes. A person honing at home and working on it may never be able to get it sharp, because if they make little mistakes, what will happen is they'll bend the end and they just can't get it sharp. Once we get it to the 20 degrees and we hone it, it will be sharp. You know, it's a beautiful knife. And then we have here an antique knife. Now, what's unique about this antique knife, it has a thick, it's very thick. It's, I think they're baton or something like that is what they're called. And this is a smaller version of it, but it's slightly bigger, like a machete or this big, is a good tool. Man, it has a heft. Anyway, the blade is thick, so you definitely use a 20. And if you were using it in the field for, you know, like even for gardening and stuff like that, it'd be 22. But it's a beautiful knife, and I always feel honored when I get a chance to work on something like this. And we'll talk a little bit about pricing in a minute, but there is one other thing. If you go to a Celtic event or a place where people have swords, you can sharpen swords very easily, but the way you charge is by the foot. So each foot is whatever your unit price is. Here in the country, we do we charge $5. All the knives except for bigger items, and but in the city it's easy to get 8 or 10, you know. And if somebody gives you a custom pocket knife, you should get twice, because it's 3 times more work than one of these soft steel ones. So on charging people, my friend Timothy believes we should say if you bring in 5, we'll charge you just for 4. And 1 free, you know, and that's a good thing to do. Here's what I'd like to give you, is the confidence that when you have this tool here and you have a knife, you can sharpen it, even without any angle advice or anything. So in essence, we're kind of, I don't know what else to say to you that I think that with this knowledge, you can go out there and sharpen knives and have some fun.